beautiful. That is a kiwi. Yeah. If it's cut, cross section, kind of like in half, you might say, not from top to bottom, but from a cross section. Pretty. Well, I'm doing this video again, and hopefully it's going to turn out as good as the last one did, but let's get right into it. What you were looking at, isn't that interesting? Isn't that beautiful? That is a kiwi. Yeah. If it's cut, cross section, kind of like in half, you might say, not from top to bottom, but from a cross section. Kiwi, and it's a very interesting looking fruit. You know how I've told y'all guys that the way Father designed things is that he put the image of what something is good for, or what something is medicine for, or he just put the image of things right on the things, like kiwi. See, here is the kiwi cut from like top to bottom. You get a kind of a totally different look, right? But both are revealing a secret. Both are to teach us something. Here's another very interesting fruit. What does it look like? Look at it closely. Does it look like a fire? It makes me think reminiscent of fire, and maybe even the crystal galley that exists within our forehead. Now, I'm not saying for sure that's what it is, but it definitely looks like a fire, like a slow motion fire. But of course, you remember what the kiwi looked like. Now, look at this. The cathode. It's a device that's used in the creation of electricity and the control and flow of electricity, the cathode. That name sounds awful familiar, like it has something to do with Catholic. The cathode, the Catholic. I wonder if there's more to this. So let's look inside of some basilicas and things like that. And I'm going to explain to you what you're really looking at here. What you're looking at is what I have described to you before, about how God put right on the face of everything in creation, including flowers and including fruits and including trees and pineapple trees or pineapples and pine trees. And there's a secret in everything. And for the flow, when it comes to the flow of plasma or ether, the Catholics they know all about it. They know that the image is the image of God, and the image that he put on everything is a secret to be discovered. They knew this. That's why this is designed so perfectly. What you're looking at is not a cathedral, but a cathode, basically. It's an electrical device. Each one of these little squares and everything is designed perfectly in order to control the frequency in this room. So everything is all perfectly square and lined up. And the images that you see in here are the same way that God designed things. You thought that this was just done for beauty purposes. It's not. Some of this work was inspired by another guy on YouTube, and I'm going to be sharing his link down below this video so you can go and look at. He has a 4-hour video that's fantastic. See that cross right in the middle, right there? Looks like almost like a cross. Okay, that's going to play out over and over and over. It's like it's a flower, but there's another message there. There's an image to be discovered. Every little teeny design is about the flow of ether, plasma, energy. These old cathedrals and these old churches that have all this ornate design all over them that we've seen all over the world, mostly in Europe, that have stuff like this on it, they're not what they told us they were. They may have been used kind of like for places of worship and this and that, because it certainly is and could be, but they are, in fact, power generators. They're generating power, but the secret that I'm trying to show you, because many of you realize that, but the secret I'm trying to show you is that, well, actually, this ain't the secret in this video, this is a secret, is that it's the image of God, how He put everything on there. Like a reactor, a conductor, a creator, a resonator, generator, mercator, a toroidal field, a torus, a turtle. And where did the word turtle come out? Well, you'll see that later on. This is generally one of the ways that a toroidal field is shown. This is, again, everything that you see here in this design, the way these arches are all done, it's all about electrical energy flow. Okay? These designs can be found in nature all around us. You just have to know what you're seeing and have the eyes to see the knowledge that I'm trying to share with you to be able to see these things. Okay, so let's go back to the cathode, and then I'm going to take you towards the discovery. You see the cathode in its design and how it's designed into this window in this basilica or Catholic church. Okay, you see how it's all these little circles in here. Okay, over and over, all around it. It's all repeating some form of this same design. It's because it's how energy flows. It's how they are able to tune the frequency. If you could see what was actually being emitted when this thing was functional, you would see that it would look like fire in these areas. And what they've done is they have used colored glass to emulate what the fire would look like. So when you're seeing these colored glasses in the church and stuff, when it's random looking swirling colored glass and stuff, it's about what you would see if you could see. Okay, see all these arch designs and these cathode type images, designs repeating over and over. There would be a fire burning in the center there, kind of like that fruit that we were looking at. You ever heard of St. Elmo's fire? I've got a video I'm going to put up here real soon of dragonfly that I've been having some experiences with in the backyard. And he lights on certain metals, and I'm going to show you that to you here soon. Now here's a floor plan design. See how everything is laid out, and you have the cathode repeating in the building. And we also know that this is the image of the body, the temple of the body. And I'll show you some more imagery of that here in a second, but I've done complete videos discussing this, is that the body is the temple, and that when Solomon's temple was built, it was built in the image of the human body. And the Holy of Holies is the head, specifically the forehead, which is why the forehead in the Bible is repeatedly spoken about, being sealed in the forehead, or having the mark of the beast in the forehead, and so on. So see the center of the cathode? Right there in the center. See it? It's metal. It's iron. Iron. Iron? Where else have you been hearing the word iron? Iron being in the temple. Iron being in the building of the temple. You see that? Still a remnant piece of iron. that is inside of the creation of this electrical device. Piece of iron. Anybody's spidey senses going up yet as to where this is headed? Why do you reckon that they have the red roofs? The red brick roofs? What do you reckon that is? Well, it has to do with iron. Red brick. A red brick itself can be used as a battery because of the amount of iron content within it. But why is the symbol of the human body, the symbol of the temple, why is it got red brick in it? Why does it have iron in it? And then all the houses around all have the same construction with the red brick. Why does the temple have iron in it is the question. Well, like I said, I think it has to do with the flow of energy, like in a halo or a torus field. See all the little halos, the symbols of halos being handed out, you see? Why is that? As we close in on what the real secret in this video is, trying to get you to thinking in the areas that I'm speaking about. Here we have another, we'll say a symbol or an image of like a halo. You've got a magnet in the middle, and then you've got the coiled copper around it, and of course it creates energy flow, which can be used to power a light bulb or various things like that. Here's an example for you of that. An LED light bulb being powered by just 2 magnets and 2 coils. Just a bolt with a couple of nuts on it fastened to a magnet on each side with current flowing and creating light. Free energy. Get you one of these for when the lights go out. So before you get bored and run off, let's get to the important stuff, okay? I've talked randomly about enough things around the subject. This is a pillar. This is the bottom of a pillar with all this symbolism on it. And the majority of the symbolism, like all these wreaths, see these wreaths here at the top? See how it looks like water waves flowing, aka current flowing? It's because it's what's happening there. If your eyes could see the light that is outside the spectrum of your eyes' ability to see. We only see a small portion of actually what is going on all around us all the time. And this is showing you this pillar has current flowing around it right here. Here's a better example of that, showing how the current flows around the bands, the iron bands on the pillow. And these not only control and create current, but they also are controlled when it comes to the frequency that is being emitted from this pillar. See the halo up at the top? They're saying that there is a current and a frequency flowing up through this pillar, and shown here like in this diagram, you can see how they built into the design the actual flow of the energy. And that brings us to something very, very interesting here. I'm going to get very much into it now, and that is that you see this is a pillar that has fallen on the ground. Very old pillar, and you can see, here's an example of the pillar, of course, okay? And it has fallen on the ground, and you see that iron band right there? That is an iron band that the limestone has come off of, and all the decorative part has come off, and now you have just the raw materials, an iron band. And then to the left there, you'll see something that looks kind of white. What that is basically a type of crystal. Not exactly where I'm pointing with the arrow at the moment in this video, that's the iron band. But to see the white stuff, that is a crystal, okay? It's because when they built these temples and these pillars, they used a crystalline material in the construction in order to control the frequency that was emitted from the pillar or whatever they were building and using it in, including the actual temple itself. You see, when they built structures like this, they weren't just doing this because it looked cool. They were using symbolism and imagery, and they were telling a story. One story they're showing is that they're showing you how the ether and the electrics of this world work, how God designed things. You notice he's holding a halo here, and if you see up at the very top on the right hand side, up here on the very top right hand side, there's another symbol of a person holding another halo. And here's where the crystal comes into play, the crystalline crystal. Well, in the stings that they've been handing out lately, what are all the materials that we have found, or some of the materials that we have found to be included in the stings? So what is it they're doing exactly? You remember how I showed you that the temple, like the Solomon's temple, first temple, second temple, and even Moses' tabernacle was built in the form of a man, meaning it was representing the human body, the pillars being the legs, the holy area being the body itself, and the Holy of Holies being the head of the body, and the specific area being right between the eyes, at the top of the bridge of your nose, where it runs into your forehead. Now, we know that the temple is the human body. The third temple is the human body. It's in the scripture, as well as it's obvious that that is the case. Okay? So, we've discovered that, but now we know that the materials that they are putting into the stings has nano-size iron oxide pellets, right? We also know that on the swabs that go up the noses and are rubbed on the Holy of Holies at the very top of the sinuses has a crystalline, a self-replicating crystalline as well. Take a look at this article here, which is from pubs.org, okay, where they publish all their findings and all the things they discover how to do, right? It says hybrid magnetic iron oxide nanoparticles with tunable field directed self-assembly. Tunable. This is the radio station of the one and only God. Welcome to hell. What I think that they are doing is they are retuning the temple, the body of God, the temple, you, the people. They are changing what station we're connected to in simple terms, okay? It's all shown right in the Abraham Accord coin, the koan. It's all shown. Let's take a closer look. So the first thing you notice on here, of course, is this is a symbol of a sword. So this is a weapon. And everything on it is a weapon. But notice what the arrow is pointing to. Does it look reminiscent of a cathode? It does. Now take a look at this. This is the symbolism that they use for the mRNA. That is the RNA that is used to change or alter the frequency, the radio station, okay? To alter the DNA. And here is the symbolism for nano iron oxide, the little pellets, the nano size, smaller than dust. You can't even see them. You have to buy a billion of them to even see the pile. So there is your iron, and here is your stinger. The stinger, or one could call it a bow. You know, like you with a bow and arrow, you pull back the stopper, and then you surge it forward, and then the tip of the spear goes into something like a stinger. And then here we are with going back to something that looks a lot like the cathode again. But what it actually is, it is the nano iron oxide pellets that are loaded up with the mRNA. And you can see that some of these dots are bigger and smaller with the gear-like structure around them. This is a 3D representation, meaning the smaller ones are further away, the bigger ones are closer to you, and they're all floating in your bloodstream. And here is the new radio station that your mind will be connected to, your new owner. Yeah, it starts with the number just after 4, and with the letter that is just after, what, A, B, C, D, E, F, and then the next one. Yeah, that's going to be when this is going to all connect up and kick off. And then we have the symbolism that has to do with the veil, the Holy of Holies. More specifically, the Holy of Holies, okay? In the center of your head, you see the palm tree there loaded up with the fruit. And then it has the crossbars hanging out with something down below that is a symbol for water. Anyways, this is symbolism has to do with your Holy of Holies, the inside of your head, the brain, specifically in between your eyes. And then at the end of the plan, gimmick, then we see the dove and the failed star, or the fallen angel that is symbolized by Saturn. And so the end goal is peace through Saturn, basically, right? And I know that sounds crazy, but you will see this cube, like the cube of Saturn. Just Google that and look it up. You will see the cube imagery everywhere. It's on everything you're buying now. It's called a QR code. It's everywhere. It is the image of the beast. And this is the same sword and the same imagery that reminds me of something else. Let me show it to you. Remember the murals in the Denver airport? Well, here's one. Now you're going to be able to look at this, and we're going to be able to decode this, okay? Once and for all, we're going to be able to decode this, okay? So let me show you some different elements here. So here we have some children, and they are sleeping on red bricks. Why are children shown sleeping on red bricks? Well, see, it is shown here there's an image of a temple that has been destroyed. You see the temple with the arrows all pointing to it? See, the temple has been destroyed. The temple of what? Which temple? You see, they're showing you the actual bricks. You see them? You got your children sleeping on them, and then you have them over here. They're showing you that this is made out of bricks, red brick, iron. And here we go with the sword and the dove at the tip of the sword, just like the one we just looked at on the Abraham coin. Do you see? It's peace through destruction of the temple. Which temple? You know which temple. But more pathetic and more upsetting is this. You have to look real closely, but if you do, you'll notice this whole destruction is talking about the children. You see the arrows pointing, one, another arrow, two, three children, the little one with the baby, the little bear in his hands. The woman on the left has a dead child in her arms, and all the way up, if you look real close, as I have, there are all these people going up this, what looks like a stairway, with dead children in their arms and other children being shown all the way up this mural to the top. Dead children. Which temple? And if you look here real closely, you can see what looks like a ribbon. I've got arrows pointing to it. It starts down there with the children laying on the bricks, but it's detached from the children. And it's like a ribbon that is floating up through the air, floating away. And it has been cut free. The ribbon that connects us, the ribbon of what? Well, when you go up towards the top, as you see it flow around in front of the death soldier, you see that it turns into light. It's the ribbon of light that connects you through your Holy of Holies in your head with our Father in heaven. They are cutting the ribbon. They are destroying the temple and disconnecting the children from our Father in heaven and changing the channel to Satan. They even have the ribbon running right across his head with on his forehead an image of two wings on the forehead, which again is another image, a reference directly to the forehead. Where did it say we were not supposed to have the mark of the beast? In the forehead. Is all this starting to make a bit more sense to you? I think so. There's a storm coming. Does it make a lot more sense now why Trump said this is the calm before the storm? This just might be the calm before the storm. What storm, Mr. President? What storm? Oh, you'll see. You'll see. So does it make much more sense now why this horse, the symbolism of a horse, is used? AKA the white horse, the red horse. And does it make any sense as to why he may be purple? Like the people who are being found that have purple in their blood. Just as I'd said was likely going to happen. Many of you have seen this and some of you have not. These videos can be found on alternate platforms that show that when a black light, just like I said, would be shined onto the body, he shines it on his spot where he got stung, and he shines it on the veins in his hands, and they glow. Luciferous is what this is. This is another one where it's a child shining it on her grandmother, I suppose, grandmother's hand, and her veins and her spot where she got stung on her arm is glowing as well in the black light. Luciferus. Many of you will remember me showing these images and this being an X, or a cube within a cube, or aka the cube of Saturn, or the cube that's in Mecca, or the cubes that's in the Vatican, or the cubes at Ground Zero in New York, or the cubes all over everything, including the QR code cube. The image of the beast is what this is. And the stuff that is flowing through people's veins is also the image of the beast. And I'm so sad and so sorry for any of you that got tricked into this. All I can say is pray out in passion to Father to save you. Yeah. Why blue or purple or whatever? Why blue blood? Well, I think it probably has something to do with this. The blood which flows in the veins of old and aristocratic families. Blue blood is literally translation of the Spanish sangre azul. This was the designation attributed to some of the oldest and proudest families of Castile, who claimed never to have intermarried with Moors, Jews, or other races. The expression probably originated in the blueness of the veins of people of fair complexion as compared to those of dark skin. Has to do with royalty, or the belief of the royalty, the old ones, the old families that hold all the secrets and things that I disclose on this channel. They don't want really this information out there. But we are lucky enough through our Father in heaven to discover some of it, aren't we? Speaking of blue, we have blue origin. Dr. Evil, anyone? They're reaching for the stars. And to get there, they're going to ride in a giant penis? Really? Could they have made this thing look any more like a phallic symbol? With something that looks like, if you were to look at it from the top, it would look like a cathode. See? Imagine if you were looking down kind of on it. Look how similar it is to that. And of course, we're back to blue still again. And wings and feathers and all these related things that just keep coming back. And then even on the inside, right? Supposedly this is what it looks like. You have the center thing that we've seen in the cathodes that were on the cathedrals and stuff. It had like the windows, and then it had a center point that the energy flowed through. And even got light coming out from under this one. Yeah. Okay. But to understand better what they're trying to say, we'll just look at their crest that they created, their coat of arms for their mission and what they're up to, right? So at the bottom we have an area that has two wings on each side, and something that tells us that time is running out, right? Time is running out, and it's in a position that the crest of Galley would be in the forehead. It's like the wings or the veil. Time is running out. And then they make the statement there. It says something like gratium ferociter. So what does that mean? Well, supposedly it's their motto. Step by step, ferociously. It's kind of like the turtle in the way that he moves. They have one of their societies, and I can't think of the name of it right off at the top of my head, but they use the turtle as a symbol for it. The reason why they use the turtle, which we're going to see in this imagery, is because of the persistence of the turtle. But even more interestingly, it's because the turtle is a reference to the toroidal field, in which the turtle carries an image of time on its back. And I've done videos and explained that in depth before, so many of you know what I'm talking about. And there's, of course, the image of the earth, which is correct in one way, but absolutely wrong in another. And we have the turtles and the turtle shells that is the image of time, has to do with time, okay, and the toroidal field, which has to do with time, and then the moon, which has to do with time. And the turtles are reaching up, they're seeking, they're trying to get something. And what are they trying to get? We'll talk about in a second. Then they have this shield here, a shield, kind of like a dome, a shield, kind of like a firmament, and it's showing different levels on here, okay? And I can't quite read everything it says on there. I couldn't find an image clear enough, but I would say it has something to do with the levels of heaven, okay? The levels of the, what you could call the atmosphere, going up to ultimately the firmament. And I've said this, and I know how crazy it sounds. I've said it in other videos, but they are trying to jailbreak something. You see, that's why they're reaching, trying to get to this star. The star. I highly suspect the main one that they're interested in is Saturn. You see, when you spend enough time studying everything that I've studied, you start to realize that the absolutely impossible is maybe actually reality. I've spoken about the straight line particle accelerator that they are building in CERN, or at CERN in Switzerland. And as wild as it even sounds to me, when I look at what they are doing, it appears that they are building a light gun, basically, a plasma gun, that they are going to try to penetrate the firmament. And I don't know exactly where the stars, the wandering stars, are at in this whole setup, but it does appear that they are going to try to, you might say, shoot at one of them, whatever the terms are that you want to use. I'm sure they've got some fancy ones for it. But they're seeking, you see that they are seeking this star, this failed star, the fallen angel, okay? They are seeking it. They're showing you right here. It says, step by step, ferociously. Okay? They have great patience, and they are staying with their goal persistently and ferociously. And they obviously are showing the heavens and showing a star. And many of the books out there, including the Book of Enoch, says that give indications that the stars that we see in heaven are angels, and some specifically are frozen in their place. And here's what the book of Jude 1:6 says about this subject. It says, and the stars which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. Here's Daniel 12:3. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. And this is the book of John, and it's verse 51. It says, And he saith unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto you, hereafter ye shall see heaven open, and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. Which brings to mind also another verse from Revelations 9, 14 and 15. It says, and this is right after the four horses of the apocalypse, the first woe. Okay, this is the second woe. And it says, well, we'll just go ahead and start right at the top. One woe is past, and behold, there comes two woes thereafter, more hereafter. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar which is before God, saying, the sixth angel which had the trumpet loosed the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loosed, and were prepared for 1 hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the third part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision. I know it's hard to, and it was intentionally made hard, to understand how this plays together, but it is all tied together, and I'm just trying to show you, you might say, corroborating evidence of what we're seeing. So we were looking at the crest, the coat of arms that they created for Blue Origin, right? The New Shepherd is what they're calling the craft. And we know what that's a reference to, too, don't we? So, but this is all this stuff that's going on is tied together. It's like what they're trying to do in heaven with breaching the firmament is tied to what they're trying to do in the human body. And you can see the symbolism. I mean, right here at the very bottom of this, we see the wings, and we know what that basically means. It's a reference to the Holy of Holies, and they've got a symbolism of time running out right there in the middle of it. And I really think that all this is truly tied together, as in heaven, as on earth, this kind of thing, where they're doing this on multiple levels and trying to breach not only the Holy of Holies within our bodies, but they're also trying to breach heaven and basically try to jailbreak some fallen angels. I know it sounds wild, but here it is again in that symbolism, showing them going to space, right? And going to Saturn, and then, or showing the symbolism of Saturn, achieving peace through Saturn. And yet we knowing this is tied back all the way into the human body and the electrics of the human body, and retuning the temple of God on earth, which is you, which is me, which are the people, retuning it away from Father and tuning it to, well, you know who, the dark side, whatever you want to call him. He's the one of many names. And in review, even though you haven't really seen these images, you can see what they're showing there with the iron nanoparticles and the thing that looks like the cathode again, with the mRNA attached to it that they go in and alter the DNA with. Here it is looking like a cathode in their own imagery. This came from a study off of one of their websites where they publish their papers. So here you have the iron, and in the other studies they talk about, yep, there's your cathode. And looks just like out of a window of a cathedral, don't it? Yep, that's because what I'm talking about is real. And so they've got the iron, they've got the magnetism, they've got the frequency, they've got the self-replicating crystalline that they paint up in the forehead with that Q-tip that they shove up your nose, and which changes your frequency. It's the same frequency that they know that causes everything on this earth to grow with a signature right on its face or inside of it. Really, everything about it tells a story, just like this kiwi does. And the reason why it looks like the cathode like this, and then you cut it a different way, and then it looks like almost like a star or fire. It's completely different, but tells a story nevertheless that God wanted us to be able to see and understand. Guys, that's going to be basically it for this video. I hope that you can now see some more things a little bit clearer. And due to a few requests I've had from a few people, one, I want to ask y'all guys to try to say a prayer for a lady named Claudia. I believe is how you pronounce her name. And she knows who she is and what her issue is, and she needs some prayers. And there's a few other people have requested that I create a few other ways. They asked me, like, do I have Cash App or Venmo, something like that. Anyways, and some other things like Google Pay and so on. So I'm increasing the number of ways that you can contribute to my channel and to my work, because if you don't notice, my channel's not monetized and hasn't been for years. And the only way I have a dollar to put in my pocket to be able to buy any bread or to do whatever to be able to survive and keep doing this work is strictly because of you. And you guys know who you are. And thanks to me having a new assistant that I'm trying to expand things a little bit, a part-time assistant anyways, I'm starting to get some databases built up and stuff, so I'll be in contact with, in various ways, with those of you that have been in contact with me in various ways, because I'm putting together a cell phone database where I can, if there's something really important going on, I can contact every one of you at one time with one text and notify you of a certain thing or whatever, okay? Because a lot of times I get information maybe quicker than what y'all guys might get it. And so I've got a cell phone database I'm putting together and a email database I'm putting together, where I'm going to soon start communicating with y'all guys in some other ways. Thank you for all the years that we've been here working together and discovering all the things we have. And those of you that do choose to contribute to this work, or part of this work, and are responsible for this work to be done, because I couldn't do it if it wasn't for y'all guys. So thank every one of you greatly that choose to contribute to my work. And I'll put all the links to all my new channels that I have down below, Odyssey and BitChute and Brand YouTube and all those, a number of them, down below as well, so you can subscribe to my channel on those places in case something goes wrong here at some point, right? And, you know, surprised it ain't happened already again, to be honest with you. I've already been terminated 4 times. But with all that being said, I love you guys. You know, Father in heaven loves us. Just look at everything we've been learning over the last years. And we're seeking the truth and finding it, and he's showing it to us. So, and I know you guys watch a lot of other channels too, and I do as well. So make sure to try to, the ones that really are working hard at it and doing a good job, make sure to support those channels as well as you do me as well. So thank y'all guys very much, and have a wonderful day. I love you, and I'll talk to you again real soon, okay?
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.